Styles make fights here, AJ. And in their first fight, Chris Curtis put it on Brendan Allen. So my big question to you is, it's the rematch, and the opening odds had Chris Curtis at plus 175. Is that a fair value to you for a man who knocked out Brendan Allen when they fought last?
Seems like a steal to me, Derek, especially like you said, man, Chris Curtis. I'm wondering if he's living in Brendan Allen's head right here because we said in the intro, it's one thing to get a win over somebody. It's another thing to knock somebody out cold, get the finish on him. That's what Chris Curtis is working with right here. But at the same point, man, we've seen Brendan Allen become so sharp, looking very comfortable in there. I'm curious to see how it folds, man, because if Chris Curtis starts bringing the heat and bringing the knuckles, man, I'm excited to see how Brendan Allen actually handles himself in that octagon going forward.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the big crux here is how much have both of these fighters changed since their original meeting. If you look at it, literally, Brendan Allen's last loss was to Chris Curtis. Curtis, on the other hand, he suffered a couple losses since that win over Allen. So again, there's the ups and downs, the ebbs and the flows. But I think a big part of that minus 210 price tag that you see for Brendan Allen is, well, let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4 of his last, no, okay, 5 of his last 6 wins are by submission. All rear naked choke, AJ. All rear naked choke. So everyone is saying Brendan Allen comes in, takes Chris Curtis down, and he chokes him. And if you look at just the past records, you say, that sounds pretty fair. But let me ask you, I'm going to rattle down the list right now here, AJ, and you just kind of tell me, of these fighters, do any of these fighters have as good takedown defense as Chris Curtis does? Paul Craig, yes or no?
Nah.
Bruno Silva?
No.
Andre Muniz?
Closer. Yeah, maybe.
Christoph Jocko?
No.
Jacob Malkoun?
Yes.
Yes, there we go. That was a good one. And if you watch the fight, it was a washing machine match, man. Brendan Allen was getting taken down. He was taking down Malkoun. That's the one where I give full credit. And I say, all right, you decisioned him. That was awesome. And then after that, you got Sam Alvey, right? So if you compare that, really the only person you fought that has a stylistic kryptonite against you is Jacob Malkoun, and there wasn't a lot done on the feet right there. So this is going to be my preface for arguing the Chris Curtis side. If Chris Curtis can maintain keeping this fight standing, has Brendan Allen's striking repertoire, do you think it's improved enough to be able to give him fits, given that Chris Curtis primarily is a boxer?
I don't think it has, Derek. I mean, in all the fights we've seen that you just listed off with Brendan Allen, man, those last four, the Jocko, the Muniz, the Silva, the Craig, we haven't had to see Brendan Allen look sharp on the feet. He's been able to get into mixes, get into situations where he's able to then grab a hold and create openings from there and work his jiu-jitsu like we've seen. But having the ability to actually set up a strike, set up a counter, set up a trap, and then get Chris Curtis to fall into it seems a little out of reach for Brendan Allen. I mean, I hope I'm eating crow on Monday, but we'll see, brother.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, people are still hammering that price tag because they say, nonetheless, he's going to get his hands on him. And if he does, it's going to be an issue. The other thing that I want to bring up right here is 5 rounds. Let me take off one hand. Five rounds, right? So if he can't get the fight to the ground and it starts hitting rounds 3, 4, and 5, that's when you have to start favoring Chris Curtis. But let's take a look at that prop, man. Plus 700 for a Chris Curtis decision. So the odds makers don't like it. They think if Brendan Allen gets this fight long, he's going to win. If it's short, he's going to win. The only prop that Chris Curtis has an advantage here is the TKO, and you have to just respect. He knocked him out last time. Of course, you're going to give him that. But realistically for you, man, if this fight does go back onto the feet, Chris Curtis, we know this dude's takedown percentage literally in his UFC career is over 90%. It's very, very high. He held Rodolfo Vieira like 0 for 20 for his takedowns or whatnot. Very dangerous black belt. I just wonder myself, can the Chris Curtis curse pop open again, which is not enough volume to win a fight?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Derek. And that's what worries me about this is Chris Curtis has fallen into this not necessarily a lull, but he's just been very consistent and not really had that moment where he's jumping up and knocking people out, getting starching them cold. He's been really trying to find himself in those decision moments, and arguably to his own credit, he's been fighting very, very tough fighters right there. But I think it's going to be the same thing, man, trying to find the moments where he can work and not necessarily having the output to get the work done.
Understood. Let's just take a quick look before we kind of wrap this thing up right here, man. If you look at the striking output against Marc-Andre Barriault, that was a record high, man. Look at all of the other numbers that we have right here. In that no contest to Imavov, that doesn't count. It wasn't a full fight, but he was down, right? Against Gastelum, he lost. The fight that he thought he won, he got headbutted in the fight. he was down on the numbers. When he knocked out Buckley, he was down on the numbers. Lost to Hermanson, down on the numbers. It's just kind of across the board, man. Volume tends to be a little bit of an issue. If we're looking on the side of a Brendan Allen, he doesn't really strike a lot because he doesn't need to. He's just going to take you down, and that's what we're paying attention to. 2 takedowns, none against Silva, still choked him out. 1 against Muniz, choked him out. Jotko, all the stuff that we just covered. But look at here. Malkoun did take him down 7 times right here. So Chris Curtis isn't going to pull the takedown out of nowhere, at least in my opinion. But I do think that what's the big argument here? I guess that's the big thing that I want to touch on, because people are going back and forth, and a lot of people are on the Brendan Allen camp, but I feel like we clearly just stated it. It's the grappling of Allen versus the danger of just keeping it standing with Chris Curtis. Can he catch Brendan Allen? Has his striking improved enough? Is that as simple as this fight goes, or is it more complicated than that?
The only other caveat in there I'd add, Derek, is the mental struggle that Brendan Allen's gonna have to get past, man. Once the hands start flowing, right? Once the strikes start coming, having that moment of, oh no, this is a different fight, right? I'm gonna do something different than the last outcome, and not living in the past, living in his head, because everybody does want that one back. It's going to be a rough one. And that right there, that performance, if we see Brendan Allen just absolutely go beast mode and knock out or finish Chris Curtis right here, I'm going to be pretty happy saying Brendan Allen has passed that level of greatness to be able to achieve his own mental status.
It's unorthodox, it's strange, but this is almost the gatekeeper test for Brendan Allen to see, can you get to that upper echelon? So the official pick is this. I like Chris Curtis. I'm rolling with the dog right here. I think it's only right. You're rolling with Brendan Allen. So I said, let's take a flyer. Plus 175 money line. Now, I'm going to let you guys know all of this in advance. I'm going to take partial AJ's side, and I'm going to hedge Brendan Allen submission. I was actually just pulling up the numbers right now. This is a sprinkle. This is a sprinkle hedge, and you're going to get Brendan Allen submission at plus 175 right now, same as the line currently. You can cash this in right now. That's the official pick.